Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boss finale. Thanks for being here. Before we begin, I just want to make a couple housekeeping comments. Let's take note of the various exits in here. And obviously, you know, we can push aside the curtain here, but take note of the exits. Restroom is out in the lobby to the right. And there's food out there, so if you need a quick break and a quick drink, please go eat it and drink it. And we just appreciate y'all being here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so my name is Shannon Bradley, and I am the program coordinator with the Keenan Center for Entrepreneurship, and I work directly with undergraduate student programs. And at the Keenan Center, we work with people at any stage of their entrepreneurial journey. Through our Entrepreneurship and Innovation Scholars Program, where we teach undergrads about the entrepreneurial mindset, and with graduate students and postdocs with various programs and initiatives, such as the Wheeler and Wolstein Internship Program. We are also active participants in the Columbus startup community and work to blend our OSU entrepreneurial ecosystem with that of our Columbus community and beyond. So to support the growth and learning of our community, we put on a wide variety of programs, from startup competitions like Boss Tonight and the President's Buckeye Accelerator to various interactive workshop series. So in partnership with our students and program partners, we work to meet the needs of anyone who's trying to make their business idea, product, or service a reality. Thank you all so much for being here today and showing your support for our Boss students. And to all of the Boss students here today that participated, I just want to tell you all that I am super proud of you, and the Keenan Center is super proud of you for all showing up and putting in your hard work. This competition finale, the competition to get in was really, really tough. So we just appreciate y'all putting yourself out there and working really hard and being part of our program. So now I'd like to turn it over to our MC for the evening, who will be leading our show. She's a student and an entrepreneur, Jess Wolf.
Thank you.
Here's your clicker, Jess.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for the clicker. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Oh, that's not me. Hello. My name is Jess Wolf. I'm a fourth-year business marketing major and musical theater minor from Framingham, Massachusetts, which is about 30 minutes outside of Boston. I'm a previous Boss participant. I'm an alumni of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Scholars Program, and I'm a lead program assistant intern for the Keenan Center for Entrepreneurship. So over the course of this semester, 42 student teams participated in educational workshops on problem identification, business model development, marketing strategies, and how to develop a pitch deck. After a first round of pitches, 5 teams were selected to be part of the finale. We have been very impressed by the quality and thoughtfulness of all of our student teams, and we think you will all be impressed with the great ideas you will hear this evening. Here is how tonight's finale will work. Just kidding. Each of our 6 finalists will have 7 minutes to pitch their business ideas. Judges will be given an opportunity to ask the teams a couple of questions, and after each pitch, and after all the teams have pitched, we will take a 15-minute break where our judges will discuss the pitches and select the first place pitch and second place award winners. Also during this time, you all will select our People's Choice Award. During this break, you can vote on your phone using a QR code for the pitch that you liked the most. The team with the most votes, who does not win either first or second place, will win the People's Choice Award. Now, 3 teams will be receiving funding tonight. First place will be receiving $2,000, second place will be receiving $1,500, and the People's Choice will be receiving $500, all going towards their pitch and their business idea. And now we would like to thank some of our partners that have made this event possible. First is our fearless workshop leaders, Scott Griffin, Greg Pugh, Evan Dunigan of AlphaMate, Matt Sinkar from Rev1, Jack Murthy and Aditya Ramaswamy from Parawave, and Anjali Prabhakaran from Perilous Health. Thank you as well to Ashley Lippincott and Shannon Bradley for organizing all of Boss. They hit the ground running this fall, and they worked tirelessly to give each team the tools for success. Let's give them a round of applause. give all of our people a round of applause. Everybody. There we go. All righty. Are we ready to hear some pitches tonight? All right. That's what I like to hear. So, before we start, let's introduce our judges for tonight's event. Up first, we have Dr. Lori Kendall, who is from the Fisher College of Business. Dr. Kendall has over 30 years of experience as a Silicon Valley serial entrepreneur and technology executive from venture-backed and publicly traded firms in B2B software, hardware, and networking. She's held VP and senior leadership responsibilities for new product development, portfolio management, and cloud services. Lori is a full-time adjunct faculty at Ohio State Fisher College of Business, where she teaches graduate and undergraduate students all things leadership and entrepreneurship. And she is an operating partner at Orchid Black, where she advises early-stage firms on strategy, growth, and innovation. She has co-founded several firms, including a multiple award-winning call center technology company that was acquired by Cisco Systems in 2018. Give a little. Yeah. Alrighty, our second judge is Dionica Gaston from Rev 1. As a managing director of talent, Dionica works directly with venture advisors and portfolio companies to help meet the company's talent needs, so sourcing senior talent and hard-to-fill executive leader level roles. Dionica brings professional experience in all aspects of staffing, recruiting, and onboard talent. Before joining Rev 1, Dionica held various recruiting and talent acquisition positions at Nationwide Children's Hospital, AAA Auto Club, and The Right Thing, an ADP company. She earned a BA degree in communications from the University of Toledo, Ohio. Let's give her a round of applause. Our third judge is Kai McKinney. Kai is a founding partner at Relay Product Collective, a 0-to-1 product agency that helps founders bring great ideas to market. A graduate of Ohio State, Kai is deeply involved in the startup community here and works alongside founders to build things that matter. Our fourth judge is Jack Murray, student founder and PBA winner of Parawave. Jack Murray is an undergraduate student at Ohio State who will be completing his degree in aerospace engineering this spring. Jack serves as the primary technical lead for projects including sponsored capstone teams, production design, and R&D. His prior experience includes internships with NASA and Columbus-based technology startups. But he has also given back to the OSU student community as the former president of a professional development student organization. As a fellow entrepreneur, he is extremely excited to see all of the hard work of the student teams pay off in tonight's competition. And alongside his good friend and classmate, he co-founded Parawave, a company creating drone technology for emergency response teams. Parawave is one of the winning teams in last year's President's Buckeye Accelerator. We'll hear more about that later. Jack is the team's CTO, and his good friend and classmate, the team's CEO, is our final judge, Aditya Ramaswamy, student founder and PBA winner as well as Parawave. Aditya Ramaswamy is an undergraduate aerospace engineering student graduating in spring of 2023 from The Ohio State University. Previously, Aditya founded Buckeye Vertical in fall 2020, Ohio State's first drone competition team. He served as Buckeye Vertical's president and team lead for 2 years, where the Buckeye team built an aircraft that can fly both manually and autonomously, which placed first nationally in Vertical Flight Society's student competition this recent summer. As a student, he is excited to be on this entrepreneurial journey and eager to engineer drone technology for disaster preparedness and emergency response. Let's give all of our judges one more round of applause. Aw, thank you. Wonderful. And for tonight's pitches, our judges are evaluating teams using the BOSS rubric. This rubric rates teams on these 7 categories, but ultimately each judge will decide if they would be willing to fund each venture. And as a reminder, each of our 6 finalists will have 7 minutes to pitch their business ideas. Let's get started. Woo! Alrighty, up first, we will have D-Distracted Driving. D-Distracted Driving is pitching here today as winners of Hack Ohio. Hack Ohio is a 24-hour hackathon that gives students unique experiential learning opportunity to build technology projects from scratch. Unlike BOSS, D-Distracted Driving focused on producing their prototype first and is now working on their business plan for that product. Tonight, they will be pitching to us where they are in that process. So, D-Distracted Driving is a company that aims to address the perils of distracted driving by leveraging artificial intelligence and the numerous sensors in modern smartphones. Let's welcome De-Distracted Driving.
All right, who's excited? There you go. All right, my name is David.
I'm Kieran.
And we're the De-Distracted Driving team. We have about 2 other members, but they're not here today, so we're going to be presenting. So to start off, when we were looking at the hackathon, we saw that Honda had a challenge that was the mobility challenge. So the mobility challenge focused on if you're going from point A to point B, how do you get from point A to point B faster, safer, in a more eco-friendly way? And we decided to take this on. So we saw that distracted drivers cause about 3,000 to 4,000 deaths every year, and they cause about 600,000 accidents as well. So we wanted to figure out, is there a way that we can detect distracted drivers, and can we alert someone if they are a distracted driver, and somehow prevent all this loss of life and cars. So our solution was just this little webcam and this little board. And we were able to, within the 24 hours, source an original data set and train a neural network which was able to detect distracted drivers in real time. So moving on to where we are now, we want to figure out what does the market actually look like. So we want to go out and we want to conduct surveys. We want to go to customers and different companies and see where they would be interested in detecting distracted driving and how they would use that. So just a quick show of like hands or iPhones. Can everybody that has an iPhone right now just take it out and like wave it in the air a little bit? All right, cool. Now, if you have one of the iPhones that's like past like 10 or 11 or something, you have this little notch that gets in the way when you watch YouTube. But this little notch actually has about like 8 sensors and actuators that interact with the environment all the time. Broadly speaking, every smartphone that you can buy in the market today has about 20 different sensors. And I can guarantee you that if you drove your car in the last month, you probably got in the car, turned on the engine, and at some point between when you turn the engine on and you turn the engine off, you touched your phone at least once. So my question is, like, why aren't we using all the technology that we have in our phones to detect distracted driving?
So now how do we turn this into revenue? We aim at 4 potential markets. The first of these would be car manufacturers such as Honda, who could leverage our software to alert a driver when they are distracted and act upon that. And we would generate about $60 million per car company. The second of these would be insurance companies such as Root, which allow users to lower their insurance premiums based upon how good of a driver they are. And we would aim to have about $27 million in revenue per insurance company there. The third possibility would be government agencies such as the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, which could utilize this to ensure that drivers are driving well and validate driving tests. And we would aim for about $24 million in revenue there. The final market that we were looking to move into was parents, all those nervous parents who just had teens who started driving. And we still need to do quite a bit of research to see how much we could exactly get there, but we're sure there's something there. In terms of what makes us unique, we have identified 2 main competitors. Two main categories of competitors. The first of these is competitors that have technology similar to ours, which is able to identify distracted drivers and alert them. And these are companies such as Zenduit and iDrive. However, these companies require a dedicated webcam, which would be cumbersome for consumers to use and also focus on fleet logistics as opposed to our focus on direct consumers. The other competitor that we have is companies like Root Insurance, which focus on lowering premiums based upon good driving habits. However, they do not have the AI capabilities to detect distracted driving like we do, and we believe that we are positioned perfectly to take advantage of somewhere in the middle of those that could lead to quite a bit of revenue in a variety of areas. So how exactly would we leverage this technology to generate revenue? Well, these different consumers would send us their data, be it video data or any other form of sensor data that could detect distracted driving. We would then send it to a cloud service which would process it using AI and return a score for how well a driver is driving, based upon how distracted they are. We would then get that score and send it back to the consumers who would act upon it however they wish. And we created this all using the 4 people who won the Hack Ohio Hackathon. It's myself, David, Kaylin Lee, and Estevan Ortega, who weren't able to be here today. But we are looking to expand by adding some more mentorship to our team. We know we lack in many areas of expanding our business, of the actual business side of this. We are a very technical team, so we are looking for mentorship to expand our business, and we believe with that we can have a really promising future.
So for the next few weeks, our plan is to continue to reach out to companies and to explore the potential market. Right now, we just have this like solution from the hackathon. You know, we know it works well, and we know that we can detect distracted drivers, but we want to see like who's interested in detecting distracted driving and what will they do with this information once they have it. And we want to develop a strategy that will take us from, you know, us detecting distracted drivers to the market which wants to detect distracted drivers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have the clicker, please? Alrighty, it is time for the judges to ask some questions.
Hello.
Hi.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
So one of my questions is, so early on in your presentation, you have the camera that's on the dash, and then you had the technology on the dash. How does that like not move? How does that not become distracting to the driver as well?
Yeah, so we actually looked into this a little bit. If you see a lot of like blue and green when you're driving, or just like generally when you're doing something, when you see a lot of blue and green, you're more calm and you're more like collected and you're just going about your life. So if they're distracted, we start to like flash red lights, we start to activate a beeper and a buzzer. And this is sort of like an alert system that sort of is like, hey, you need to get your eyes back on the road. This is similar to other technologies that are currently in cars, like Honda has this lane assist feature, but if you take your hands off the wheel for more than like 5 seconds or so, then it starts to like beep at you and flash lights, and it like does this in a similar way. So it functions in a similar way where it like it alerts the driver, and then it's on the driver to, you know, actually get their like eyes back on the road.
Hey, great pitch. Thank you for sharing that with us, and congratulations on success at Hack Ohio. I had a question about the market. So, you know, you mentioned that you're doing a little bit of exploration there still, but you mentioned that like you see a lot of promise, particularly in going direct to consumer with the solution. If you are going after that user, I'm curious what you anticipate the problem you're solving for that user is at a pretty abstract level.
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, you know, you have like all these things on your phone like that track like how much time you spend on applications, or like, you know, how many steps you get a day or something. So this is just another metric that consumers might be interested in broadly. But I think we're focusing on consumers a little bit, but we're also focusing on stuff that's like very tangentially associated with the consumer. So like if we have an app that connects with Root, then this is something that the consumer also interacts with, but Root is someone that actually evaluates this on a larger level. And then,
yeah, so while that would be a very interesting prospect, it would obviously just require a lot more development than, say, going through Root Insurance or through another car or through a car manufacturing company. They would be better able to more immediately able to leverage this technology. That would be an issue for farther down the road, though we do think that that specific market of parents who just have teens just starting to drive would be probably a lesser source of revenue, but still a consistent source of revenue, because you're not going to have people who you're always going to have people who are beginning to drive immediately. So we currently plan on having a software service that other companies are able to interact with, and then possibly developing that into something that can be marketed directly to the consumer, while these other companies are able to get, as he said, get to them tangentially prior to that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you very much to De-Distracted Driving. Give them one more round of applause, please. Up next, we have ClassGuard. and ClassGuard aims to utilize modern computer vision and artificial intelligence technology to put an end to the epidemic of mass shootings in the U.S. Let's welcome ClassGuard.
Hello. Good afternoon, judges. I'm here today to talk to you about a harrowing modern problem, school shootings. Now, we've all seen school shootings continue to rise in the US over the years. I was in 6th grade when the Sandy Hook school shooting occurred, and since then, in school, I've been taught various drills and procedures to protect myself against school shootings. And in addition to these solutions, we've tried many other things, including increased security guard presence and even various forms of legislation. But unfortunately, none of these solutions have completely stopped the problem, and we've continued to see it increase over the years. Now, I was always amazed with the level of technology that we have today, and I always wondered, with this level of technology, why can't we have a technological solution to this problem? And it turns out we've tried. However, unfortunately, most of these solutions lie on either end of a spectrum. We have really safe solutions which use computer vision and cameras to detect threats such as guns, but unfortunately, these solutions do very little to actually stop threats and attackers. They might notify a school official that a threat's been detected, at which point it might already be too late. On the other end of the spectrum, we've seen a push to include lethal weapons in schools by arming teachers and giving them combat training. But there's been a large opposition to that idea. So I thought, why can't we have a middle ground to this solution? And I believe the middle ground is using non-lethal weapons, such as pepper spray, which uses a chemical compound known as capsaicin. Now, capsaicin is highly effective at immobilizing threats, but it's also non-lethal. You can find capsaicin in various hot peppers. Now, imagine a typical classroom situation with an active shooter. My solution is to attach to the ceiling of this classroom a metal rail and attach to this rail robot arms which are capable of moving along the rails. Now, I know this is very prominent, but in a typical day in a classroom, you'd hardly notice it. Think of it like a sprinkler system in a classroom. However, in an emergency situation, a school teacher or designated security official would be able to activate the system, and only once students are safe and out of the way, the system could then allow the robot arm to detect, move to, and neutralize the attacker using pepper spray. Now, I know this isn't a comfortable solution. We're not comfortable with the idea of having weapons in school, let alone non-lethal weapons. But we need a solution now for students to protect them when they inevitably end up in these life or death situations with absolutely no backup. Now, in terms of the market, schools are desperate for a solution to their safety problems, and the state of Ohio, in the wake of the Uvalde school shooting, has allocated over $47 million in grants to give schools designated school safety budgets. And if we're able to capture even a small part of that, there's over a $15 million revenue opportunity here. Now, in terms of the competition, as I mentioned, many of these solutions exist to detect threats. Some of them use similar things to airport security scanners, detecting for guns. But out of all of these solutions, none of them are actually concerned with stopping attackers directly, let alone using non-lethal weapons. And I'm happy to say that as of this week, we officially have our patent pending with our solution. So we can forget about the competition. Not really. But in terms of our business model, we plan to focus our revenue streams on hardware sales along with maintenance plans for software updates and hardware support. And we plan to focus our efforts initially on the surrounding local area and high-risk schools. For our 6-month outlook, we plan to continue developing our prototype and work with schools to do testing on safety and evaluate that. Now, who's going to make this happen? Our team has top talent in Karthik Sivasubramanian and John Wu, who are sitting in the audience. They both have experience in both research and industry, as well as specialized knowledge in machine learning and neural networks. And this is me, maybe not the most recent photo. But I was always a science fair kid, and growing up I did various engineering projects. And central to most of these projects was the use of cheap development tools, such as Arduinos, which taught me how to rapidly prototype solutions. Now, in college as a computer science student, I wasn't always sure what classes to take. I took computer vision because it sounded fun, and I'm really glad I did, because I learned a lot of different techniques which can be applicable to real-world problems. Now, in a very short time frame, I was able to prototype a solution which was able to detect me as a threat by detecting that I was holding a Nerf gun. Karthik and John were able to continue this development on this prototype and test it in various conditions. Now, I believe that combining computer vision techniques along with rapid prototyping tools, we are able to come closer to making this dream into a reality. Now, judges, we have almost everything we need. We have the expertise here at Ohio State. We have the technology in today's world. And the need could not be more pressing. The only thing we need is the funding. So judges, who will join me in utilizing technology to finally make our schools safer? Thank you.
And now we will hear some questions from the judges.
So one of the big problems that you're going to encounter is that classrooms won't be emptied. You'll be in lockdown situations where you're going to have kids in the classroom along with the attacker. So how will you be able to distinguish where you're going to direct the countermeasures so that most of the capsaicin goes towards the attacker and not towards the kids who are huddled underneath desks or are injured and on the floor and problems like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think working with schools is important because they're already doing like training for these situations. So I think we plan to have like fail safes on top of fail safes. So on one of them, they can just activate the solution itself. So normally it's completely dormant, not capable of doing anything. But once they activate it, it still is not going to like fire the capsaicin, but then they can like, ideally they should be able to gather the kids in an area where they're like away from that. But then even then, using the computer vision techniques, it should be able to detect who has the gun, and the kids shouldn't. So then even then, it should only fire at what it detects to be a threat. But I think the ultimate failsafe at the end of the day is just that this is an entirely non-lethal solution.
Thank you.
I have one for you. So first off, really, really wonderful presentation and an important and really impactful problem as well. I know that you said that you're planning on working with schools primarily, but very often the schools that are in the highest need also often don't have the funds to obtain what they need. How have you gone and validated the pricing model that you've come up with school communities?
Yeah, thank you. So I think that's a great question, and I think we have a lot more work cut out for us in terms of that validation. Right now, we focused on looking at like what budgets schools already have. So there's a slide earlier. Franklin County School District has over $900,000 allocated for that budget for school safety. But I think we definitely want to put one of these inside every school in America. So at the end of the day, so I think we would definitely be willing to work with them and offer grants to schools in lower income communities, which also sometimes are at a higher risk as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's give ClassGuard one more round of applause. Alrighty, the next team we have up is InsiderViz. InsiderViz.com is the free, easy, and visual solution to insider trading data. Let's welcome InsiderViz.
All right, so we are InsiderViz. I'm Ryder Kemper. This is Ben Davis, and this is Ben Ware.
Before we get started with the problem, I'd like to first thank our mentors. Nicole Widener, Joe Goodman, and Michelle Leader. Now, the problem we're here addressing today. So the big thing we're looking at is financial uncertainty. This particularly affects people who have some money saved up, but they're not quite sure what to do with it yet. They want to have it start compounding, they want to make passive income, but they're not quite sure what to do. You see a lot of interest in this in something like GameStop, where a lot of money flows into the market, but it's done in a risky or an unsafe kind of manner where they're likely to lose money. So there's a big knowledge gap there that we want to help address. The particular area that we decided to hone in on was insider trading data for 3 reasons. First, we went and looked for this data ourselves, and we weren't able to find it. The current solutions really are lackluster, and they don't solve the problem. Second, from our own personal testing, we found that this data really is valuable, and there's some charts I'd love to show you if you ask about them. Third, we think the knowledge gap I mentioned is at its greatest here. When I say insider trading, many of you probably believe that's something illegal, when really I'm talking about the legal trades that are just CEOs, officers, directors buying shares in their own stock.
So now that we've talked about our problem, who are we planning to give this solution to? Well, we believe our TAM is basically anyone that has money and is looking to improve their financial future. Our SAM is around 10 million people. These are people that are already invested in the markets or are looking for additional data and resources to inform their investments in the market. And our SUM is around 250,000. These are people that are already using specifically insider trading data or other alternative data sources to inform their portfolio. Our ideal user is someone very similar to ourselves, have some similar problems to us, they have discretionary income, and are looking for increased data sources to inform their investments, but they're not sure where to get them from. And this is where our site can come in to fill that knowledge gap and improve their financial future.
So like Ben said, about last summer we went and we tried to get this data ourselves. When we did, we were met with the things you see up on the slide. We had SEC Form 4, Open Insider, and FinViz. All of these were opaque, hard to use, they weren't visual, and worst of all, they were often paywalled. We wanted to make a better way, so we built InsiderViz.
So why are we sure that there's a market to be filled here? Well, right off the bat, our site currently has around 500 active monthly users interacting with the data and gaining value from it. Additionally, we've sent out a survey to these users as well as other potential users, and they came back with a resounding yes. Over 90% believe that our visualizations do indeed provide value and help them to understand the data that we're showing. On top of this, we've been active on multiple social media platforms, most notably on a Reddit forum dedicated to data visualization, and on that platform, we got a huge response showing that our visualizations are equivalent with the leading industry standard. And finally, we've talked with multiple experts. Again, we mentioned our mentors at the beginning are helping us to guide the business towards success.
So understanding our competitive landscape as well as the market, we can get into our value proposition, what we actually add, and we tell the story of companies through the actions of their insiders. To demonstrate this, I have an example from the site. So this is the stock graph of Carvana. You can see they're a used car retailer, and they had this meteoric growth in 2021. But then on recession fears, they came crashing back down in 2022. But the story we can tell, just by looking at the bubbles, is that insiders continue to buy as the stock collapsed, showing that they still believe in their company. I'd like to also include a quote from Professor DeModern, who's been called the Dean of Valuation. We're drowning in data. If you ask me what the biggest problem we face as investors, it's no longer that we don't have enough data, it's that we have too much. And this really is our goal above all else, is to take away from these charts and data points and distill it down into visualizations and stories that users can understand.
So as InsiderViz, what is our mission? Well, as we discussed before, the problem that we're trying to solve is the uncertainty in the next generation's financial future. So our mission is to democratize access to that financial data and improve literacy and visualization in the sector. The vision that we see is helping to create a generation of confident investors that are armed with accurate and meaningful financial data. And the values that we hold are transparency, coherence, diversity, equity, inclusion, honesty, and knowledge.
Our goal is to make insider trading understandable, visual, and accessible for everyone. Let's take a look at how we're doing that. So what you're going to see right here that Ryder's pulling up right now is the live beta of InsiderViz, which we launched just over a month ago. When you land on the site, you're greeted with the cluster buys. The cluster buys is when we have a group of unique insiders all buying a company at the exact same time. This strongly signals that a large group of insiders with detailed information believe that the stock has a good future, so they're investing their own money into the stock. We aggregate this data and display it to the end user. You can see via the graph, you can visually get a good understanding of when these cluster buys happen and see where it is on the stock graph, leading to helping us make this visual and understandable.
Next thing I'd like to direct your attention to is the Berkshire Hathaway page. Berkshire Hathaway is a large-scale institutional investor. They manage billions of dollars, and what we wanted to do is we want to take all of their holdings and we wanted to put them into a visual, easy-to-understand pie chart with a detailed breakdown on the right there so that you can really get an idea of what they're investing in and you can keep track of it for your own investments. Finally, I'd like to show you Carvana. Carvana is the graph that we showed you earlier in the slides, and here you can get a really detailed understanding of how we sort of can show this story via our graphs. You can also see how when you're playing with it on the live site, it's not just a static graph. You can manipulate the data, you can change the time frame, you can really manipulate it in your own way to get a true understanding of how these companies work. Now, all of this is great, but I'd like to turn it over to Ben to show you some of the really cool stuff we're working on internally to help accomplish our mission.
Right. So we mentioned as our value proposition that we tell the story of companies through the actions of their insiders, but it doesn't just have to be the actions of their insiders. We can really tell the story of companies through many data sets. And the next one that we've been working on most recently is one of risk factors. So we've taken the 10Ks, which are reported to the SEC. These are annual reports that every company has to file. And in there, they need a risk factor section, which details the risks of the company. Now, what we can do is we can provide a natural language processing model on this. And so we can look at document-wise similarity of risk between companies. And we have a sort of pre-alpha that's not on the site yet, but demonstrates this possibility in which we can show the similarities of risk factors of companies. So this was generated by beginning from UPS, and we said, okay, what are the two most similar companies by risk factor, right? And so there we see FedEx, which is sort of obvious because they're both logistics companies, but then an interesting insight there is maybe Delta, right? Because maybe you don't expect that, well, moving people, moving packages, maybe it does have the same risk factors. So that's something you can learn from these insights. We also can demonstrate, if we switch to the sample, yeah, we can see this is another, to prove how versatile this visualization can be, we can also show, for example, market caps of companies and how they can relate to each other. So you could imagine this on the site where you can select a company and then it'll bring up the graph as well, and you can really understand companies through these visual means. So that concludes our presentation, so thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
Awesome. Great presentation. My question for you guys is, what are your next steps and next big milestones that you have planned?
For sure, yeah, that's a fantastic question. So yeah, the next big thing, like we were saying, is to continue to develop the feature set into stuff that's truly unique and like unstoppable. So currently we're sort of a twist on sites that already exist. But if we get to continue to improve, we'll have information that no one else has. And the big benefit here is we can sort of switch the model from selling that to individual investors, but we'll also be able to get institutional clients who want to have access to these data sets that don't exist anywhere else. Do you want to add?
We're also looking at incorporating lots of machine learning. So right now, our data sets are mostly just gathered from structured data that you can find from the government website, the SEC. But our next steps really involve doing a lot of processing on that data in order to transform it into more useful forms that, like Ben said, don't really exist anywhere else right now. And so we're going to work over that data and use computer science to improve it.
Yeah, great presentation, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and congratulations on the traction that you have already. One thing I'd like to know is just unpack the monetization structure. So like, how are you planning on distributing, monetizing?
I'm gonna switch that slide. Yes, absolutely. So currently our main monetization strategy is via Google AdSense. So based on this is just from the Google AdSense calculator. If we hit our target audience, we would end up with an MRR of 400,000 just off of ads based off of their calculations. Now, we also have a secondary monetization stream of a subscription service. So currently, we've just released the base tier. The base tier just provides email notifications whenever you select an insider so you can get notified on their trades. Then we also remove ads, and we offer the ability to get some CSV downloads of the data, basic stuff. Now, we're currently working on, like they said, we're building out some more AI-generated data sets. These are going to be much more complex and much more valuable because currently this is structured data. Our big value add is the visualizations. But what we're working on internally, like we showed you with that 10K thing, is we can take this data that's unordered, these massive, it's just text. So we take this text and we can derive meaning from it. We can derive that UPS and FedEx are related to each other. So we're going to take this idea and we're going to extrapolate on it. We're going to build out these big data sets, these complex visualizations, solutions, and then we're going to sell these to institutional investors. And these will be much larger clients, much larger amounts of revenue will come from each one, maybe due by seats, so on and so forth. So we have a sort of public-facing consumer side here, and then we want to incorporate that sort of B2B side there, which is going to be where the bulk of the revenue will come in the future.
Yeah. I guess adding on top of that a little bit, I'd like to mention it's not, we actually met with our mentor, Michelle Leader, this morning even, so it's not quite in the slideshow, but we were even going over, she has access to a lot of proprietary like alternatives to like getting this kind of data as she runs financial fine, footnoted financial fine printers, her company, and what she does is she just looks at unordered SEC data, so there's this, a lot of times companies will release data on like Friday night when the SEC is still open but the market's closed, and she'll just report on that and she'll have them call it by Monday. So that's clearly super valuable, and it's very nice. She's helping us develop our product. And so the big thing we were looking at is like how do we compare to proprietary technologies that are charging like institutional fees? And I'll be honest, I wasn't impressed when she showed a lot of the alternatives to me. I think for free we're giving a lot of what people will pay a lot of money for. So once we add more on top of it, I think we have a very good position.
Alrighty, let's give Insider Biz one more round of applause. Oh, they got a lot of appendixy stuff. Fun. Alrighty, we are halfway through our pitches, which means it is time for our halfway stretch. Everybody stand on up. That's all right. Let's bring our arms up all the way to the sky. There we go. And reach over to the side. Wave to your friend. Hello. And reach over to the other side. Wave to your other friend. Hello. Yeah, there we go. Everybody, we got the classic arm over arm. Not a lot of people feeling that. That's okay. Arm over the other arm? No? All righty. I'm sorry. All right. Shake out those arms and legs. Give it a little shake. And we are ready? Alrighty, everybody take a seat. Hope you had a lovely little stretch in there. That feels good. Alrighty. Up next, we have MyoGlove. MyoGlove is a modular therapeutic device tailored for healthcare professionals through advanced ergonomics. Let's welcome MyoGlove.
Thank you, Jess. So, this is Corey. My name's Leo. I recently started running marathons, and one of the biggest problems I had was I was always having back pain. So, I tried commercial products like the Theragun, which is a handheld massage gun, but I couldn't find a product that was actually targeting my pain. That's why we developed MyoGlove, therapy that learns from you. But this isn't about me, this is about Max. Max is a 21-year-old powerlifting athlete. He's come across shoulder pain, and this has left him with limited mobility and decreased performance when it comes to his sport. Now for athletes, as we all know, their health is their lifeline, meaning it's more than themselves, it's about their income, potential scholarships, sense of community, and mental health. So Max, he has two solutions here. His first solution is to go get a commercial product like the Theragun. Only problem with this, if he has back pain, it's not always rooted in his back. It can be rooted in, say, his hips, meaning if he's using a massage gun on his back, he's not actually treating himself properly. His other option is to get clinical treatment, and as we all know, that can be very costly. So this brings us over to our clinician, Dr. Ben Brang. So Dr. Brang specializes in sports medicine, meaning he's using his hands day in and day out to treat his patients. This can lead him to develop tendonitis and carpal tunnel, and can also decrease his performance when he's treating his own patients. His current solutions are surgery, which will put him out of work, leaving him unable to treat his patients, or completely retire from practice. So, two different people, but they're having the same problem. They're experiencing decreased performance due to overuse and inadequate treatment. We've solved this by providing an ergonomic massage therapy device that targets muscle treatment. So this is MyoGlove, and how it works, it's made up of two pieces. The top piece is a modular attachment, and the bottom piece is this magnetic locking mechanism that keeps the top piece from slipping out when it's in use. Now, we've developed MyoGlove to have a universal fit for anyone that uses it, and through mechanical advantage, it reduces the user's fatigue. For the patient, they're receiving better targeted treatment as well as a better overall outcome. So recently we did a study with 70 athletic trainers and physical therapists around Columbus. We gave them the MyoGlove and let them try it out on real patients. 96% of them said that they saw improvements in their treatment and workflow. 80% of them said that they were interested in buying the product for regular use, meaning they saw it as a necessity to have in their office. So below this are some testimonials from the users. And when it comes to our buyers, we have people like Ohio State, Ohio Health, the NFL, the Arnold. And this isn't just the athletes and the clinicians. This is anyone else in the world that needs this type of treatment. So currently, the athletic injury market sits at $20 billion. Inside of that, we have the physiotherapy market, which sits at 18.4. Now, this is comprised of devices that are used in and out of the clinic. Our market sits at $3.4 billion, and this is the commercial therapy device market.
In relation to our competition, we have competitors ranging from massage guns to scraping tools, although none of these products can embody all of the user's needs. So what we've done is we've combined the best aspects of all these products and put them into one, MyoGlove. Not only this, we're revolutionizing this landscape by adding two key aspects, heating and cooling therapies, which we know that work, as well as passive data collection for continuous improvement. So here's a preliminary prototype. Moving forward, we're implementing pressure sensors, which allow us to passively collect data. And with this data, in conjunction with AI, we're able to both refine procedures for patients as well as aid in diagnosis to have the best possible patient outcome. So once again, our market share is at $3.4 billion. So our fixed cost is $8,000 for a 20,000 unit run. So we break even when a retail price of $250 at 35 units. Moving forward, the projection of that batch is $4.6 million. Following the implementation of our software service to also complement our device, we have a $100 annual subscription, which gives our projected revenue at $7 million. So personally, I'm an engineer, but kind of pulling away from the numbers, where we are and where we're going. So we all start with the medical professionals. This is where all the procedures are refined and properly developed. Then we develop our sample size to grow through athletes. Here we can also get commercial awareness and then have a commercial-friendly product that is user-friendly to then attack the commercial market. So MyoGlove stands for accessibility. Personally, as a Paralympic athlete, I completely understand the financial struggles of how expensive healthcare can be. Not only this, we developed a $100 annual subscription, but this is comparable to a Spotify subscription. Not only that, 1 or 2 visits to the clinic. And so we also advocate for sustainability. In the medical healthcare market, they develop so many one-time use products for reoccurring business models that generate copious amounts of waste. So what we've done is we've designed one robust design that does not require any extra money that is unnecessary to be spent. We're gonna put the entire clinic in your pocket. We are personalized healthcare. We're not gonna only learn to treat you, but learn how to treat you better. As we progressively gain more data through both our clinicians, athletes, and public market, our product will be extremely refined and polished. And so currently at $3.4 billion is a commercial market, but following the implementation of diagnosis, we can begin to encroach on the physical therapy market at $46 billion, which raises our ceiling exponentially. And MyoGlove's not just about the product, it's the people that make up this product. We're a multidisciplinary team of individuals with diverse backgrounds and perspectives with the experiences to back this up. We have elite athletes from powerlifters, ultramarathoners, Paralympic prospects, and technical backgrounds from companies such as Tesla, the FDA, Intuitive Surgical, and also creativity from companies like Nike and Red Bull. And we'd like to thank Dr. Benjamin Bring, if you could please stand, Ben, for being our advisor and also making this all possible today, as well as Shannon Bradley and Scott Griffin. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you all. This is a really, really solid presentation and a really wonderful idea. Really appreciate you all coming out tonight and very, very proud of this. My question for you all is, you're working in the health space, and I'm not sure if I missed it somewhere. Are you all working directly with consumers, or are you working with businesses? And if so, how have you gone and validated your current pricing model with them?
Right, great question. So we're doing both. We've both been sourced by other businesses for helping with commercialization, but we also have had direct contacts with the clinicians through Ben. So this is our affiliations with the NFL as well. He has networks through all the athletic trainers in the country. So we already have a great network through that. And moving on to your second part, which was I'm so sorry, what was that?
How have you gone and validated your pricing model with your users and businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. And so given it's a medical device, obviously we can price slightly higher, but not only this, if you think of a SoRite, if you've heard of that device before, so it's just a plastic injection mold. They charge it $80. It's just it's to massage out your psoas muscle, but it's literally just like a block-shaped U. And if that's priced at $80, we kind of averaged out with that, inclusive of our modular attachments, trying to go between such as a device we're competing against like Theragun, where they have like $500 to $600 models. So we kind of took the bridge and we went into $250. And then in terms of regulation, we also have that covered. Due to the fact that we're a class 1 device, we're actually exempt from like the 510K, and we don't actually have too many barriers in relation to the FDA and getting to market.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, great presentation, guys. Just a couple of quick questions. If you're going to sell this commercially to the weekend warrior outside of professional sports,
yep,
how will this be targeted towards that user community, that persona community, and how do they use it in their own recreational practice? So I finish a 10K, I finish a marathon, half marathon, and I have this thing, what do I do?
Right, I do have an answer for you. And so the best thing about this software is that we can have predisposition. So we can both treat patients, but we can also have preventative outcomes as well. So like we can be like, I'm gonna arrive at 10K, we have this procedure for you to do, you can do these exercises. Here are some clear indications of where this pain might lie deeply from like a clinical perspective. And that's why we're starting with the doctors.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty, thank you to Maya. Glad let's give him a round of applause. Somebody can give me a clicker.
We're just going to hand it off to the next group.
That's even easier. Amazing. Alrighty, up next, we will have Smile Child. Who'd you hand it to? Alrighty. Up next is Smile Child. Smile Child is a novel incentive-based educational mobile app with the goal of reducing disparities in infant mortality rates by bringing both accessible and quality educational resources to a caregiver's fingertips. Let's welcome Smile Child.
Hi everyone, my name is Ava Barone and this is Davy Nell-Carty. We are so excited to be here today to talk to you about our solution to bring infant and maternal care education into the hands of every mom and caregiver to give every child the chance to smile. Before we can explain what we do, we need to understand why we do it. Infant mortality is defined as the death of an infant before the age of 1. Unfortunately, in 2018, there were about 21,000 infant deaths, with the 5 leading causes of death listed on the right. You'll also see that there are significant disparities when it comes to socioeconomic status, race, as well as geographic region. This problem persists in our own backyards in Franklin County, as the IMR of Black infants is more than double that of their white counterparts. You also see that there are significant medical costs associated with the causes, such as NICU stays as well as ER visits, but more importantly, this is a public health crisis that needs to be addressed. Luckily, we believe that with the right access to resources, education, and healthcare professionals, we can give every child a chance to smile by eliminating these disparities and reducing deaths altogether. This is where Smile Child comes in. I'd like to walk you through the app by introducing you to Kelly. Kelly is a woman in Franklin County who just found out that she's pregnant. She's overwhelmed because she works 2 jobs and she doesn't have a lot of free time or knowledge of resources. Luckily, she goes to community center and she finds out about Smile Child and she downloads the educational app. Here she starts with the Learn tab. Kelly finds engaging modules such as quizzes and games that teach her important information such as self-care during pregnancy, as well as safe sleep and smoking cessation. This improves her health literacy so that she can make empowered decisions about her health. Moving on to the Earn tab, here Kelly finds that she's able to redeem her points for rewards directly related to her and her baby's health. For example, she can get pack-and-plays and cribs, and this incentivizes her to use the app. It also dignifies the acquisition of free resources that are available in the community through public health initiatives as well as through the government. Moving on to the Smile tab. Here, Kelly finds that she is supported by a care circle, which includes a nurse practitioner on call or on chat. She finds she has access to health tracking as well as informational podcasts and videos from doctors. It's important to note that this is just one pathway through the app and one example of one mom, as we can tailor the education based on the stage of pregnancy or the age of the baby, for example.
So within the realm of infant and maternal health care, we have identified 3 key stakeholders. And in the form of monthly focus groups, we brought together health professionals, institutional stakeholders, as well as, most importantly, our mothers and caretakers. So specifically, about 50 mothers partook in our monthly focus groups, and they have tested our app and validated its viability. And our key partner is Moms to Be, which is a community-based pregnancy program for at-risk and low-income mothers that works in tandem with the Wexner Medical Center. And currently, Smile Child is in partnership discussions with Moms to Be to go statewide through our virtual platform. So in 2019, about 3.7 million mothers gave birth. And honestly, we can stop here because we believe that Smile Child is an app that can be used by every pregnant mother because infant mortality is a problem that everyone can face. However, we recognize all the disparities such as the socioeconomic barriers to accessing care. So we use Medicaid as our proxy given the income enrollment for Medicaid. And 1.6 million mothers who gave birth also are enrolled in Medicaid. And of those mothers, 528,000 are non-white mothers who are disproportionately affected by infant and maternal health complications. So the concept of a pregnancy app is not unique. As you can see, there's other apps in the market that exist. However, we are unique, and what sets us apart from all the other apps is our user-centered approach and research-backed development. Not all the apps are tailored at a 5th grade reading level or offer dignified acquisition to incentives, nor are they gamified for promoting active learning and are not connected to the primary healthcare system via nurse on chat. So we plan to operate via an annual per month per member fee that we collect from health insurers, health systems, and corporations. That way we can provide the app at no cost to the populations that they're covering, whether it be employees or their insurance givers. And these are caregivers like Kelly, who will use our app and increase their prenatal care utilization, thus decreasing their emergent care visits, such as the ER visits or urgent care visits that are high cost. This will create an overall cost savings for the insurers, systems, and corporations, 20% of which we plan to use for operational and management costs, and then 80% of it will be returned back to the insurers, systems, or corporations.
As Davey just mentioned, we would like to partner with health systems as well as corporations. And in order to do so, we need to collect data that supports not only an improvement of health outcomes, but also cost savings. That's why with the funding, we would like to conduct a clinical study with Moms to Be. We already have IRB approval, and we're looking to compensate these moms fairly for their time, especially since they are of lower socioeconomic status. And this would allow us to launch the app at Nationwide as well as OSU Medical Center. So to bring this idea to life, we have a really talented team of diverse majors ranging from computer science to public health. We also have experts who have helped us develop the app and continue to advise us, such as Dr. Cami, who's the medical director of Moms to Be, as well as Dr. Nellen, who's the chair of neonatology at Nationwide. All of us are here today because of some combination of luck as well as the impacts of social determinants of health. However, at Smile Child, we believe that life and death should not depend on luck or the zip code where you were born or where you're from. That's why we invite you to join us to reduce infant mortality in our communities. Thank you.
First off, really great presentation. I think it really comes through clearly that that you all have really worked hard to refine your pitch deck, especially. I think I remember seeing you all in PBA as well, and you all have come a very long way, and I'm very, very proud to say that. I kind of want to hit in on some of the focus groups and that clinical trial aspect. Could you elaborate a little bit on more, or a bit more on how you've gained that end user feedback and what your plans are for those clinical trials?
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that more. So in regards to the focus group specifically, we've met with NICU boards through Nationwide, and they offer those monthly. So we've been able to gain feedback, demo the prototype app to them, and hear their concerns, especially since NICU parents and babies, it's such a sensitive topic and an emotional one. We want to make sure we cater to their needs specifically. And then further, we've also attended Moms2Be visits, and we work very closely with Moms2Be to make sure that the end user's needs are inputted into the entire development. And then moving on to the clinical study that will be with Moms2Be mothers, we have IRB approval for it already, and we'd be giving them access to the app. They'd be able to engage with the modules, and then we have pre-surveys and post-surveys that they would take that would collect some information about how their health has changed, if they've changed the number of visits or healthcare utilization, and some other factors and data that we're hoping to gather that we can then take to partner with health systems and corporations.
Adding on to that, the clinical study we're planning also collects some metrics such as how often they're logging into the app. So in the back end, we store all these metrics so we can see, oh, are they responding positively to push notifications per se, how often we should give those. So these are all important feedback we're collecting. And we also recognize that the target population is at risk and low income, right? So they're not gonna have time to sit down and complete surveys per se. So we are focused more on qualitative interviewing. So we do a lot of interviewing and ask open-ended questions where we can just write down the feedback rather than ask explicit questions and expect them to answer some of those questions.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your mission and where you're trying to go with this. How are you going to deal with the reality that in socioeconomically disadvantaged neighborhoods, the lack of trust in the healthcare system is pretty high? And what will be the strategy in a go-to-market of overcoming that natural reluctance and the unwillingness to engage because these communities have been betrayed so much by the healthcare system?
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point, as well as it's important to recognize that the disparity and that lack of distrust doesn't come with the history of just years and years of just unethical treatment. So I think one of the main things we want to emphasize is how we're student run and a public health initiative more than a startup or a business initiative, right? We're obviously seeking funding as a startup, but we are a public health initiative at our heart, and we all have that same mission. And number two, just like quantitatively, you can see through the app, you know, I think a couple of years ago, there was first published the first picture of a black baby in textbooks, in medical textbooks. And it took, like, the internet went wild because no one saw a black baby in a textbook. And we really try to incorporate all types of skin tones in this app throughout, either be graphical, you know, cartoon images of the babies, or just like pictures of the moms in the app. So that's one way we're trying to make sure that this app is built for you. And one of our biggest ways we can learn to be better, because we know we can be better, is through Moms2Be. Moms2Be really caters towards that low-income, at-risk population, and we see them connect with these populations every single day. So I think there's a lot to learn from them, but these are some ways we are incorporating and trying to build that trust with the population.
Alrighty, let's give Smile Child one more round of applause. And it is now time for our final group, our final presentation for the day, which is Michaelite Solutions. Michaelite Solutions is looking to solve an unnatural problem with a natural solution. By harnessing the power of plastic degrading fungi, they can help rid the world of excess plastic waste. Let's welcome Michaelite Solutions.
Hi, I'm Zane.
I'm Sydney. I'm Sayed.
I'm Parker. And I'm John, and we're Michaelite Solutions.
Recycling sucks! Growing up in Licking County, Ohio, I passed by a set of train tracks every day on my way to school. And sometimes, about once a week, a train would come through. I'd even be late to school sometimes because of it. The thing is, this train wasn't just carrying anything, but trash. Cars and cars of trash. A lot of which, honestly, could be recycled. Less than 5% of all recyclable materials end up getting recycled annually. And this number, honestly, isn't much better at OSU, roughly only 30 to 40%. These materials just end up in landfills where they sit for thousands and thousands of years. And we're running out of space. So how are we going to keep these materials out of landfills? Our solution is the research and development of plastic-degrading enzymes found in certain species of mushrooms. These enzymes break down plastics into their base hydrocarbons, which then render them non-toxic and non-pollutive to our environment.
So we've talked about our solution, but really, who cares? Well, if you take a look at this image, it has a list of people that we've talked to who very much do. But here are some highlights. First, we have Jason Slott. He's the head of the mycology department here at OSU, and he described our idea as cutting edge. Then we have NAMA, which is short for the North American Mycology Association, and they're very interested in working with us in the future and helping us pursue funding. Third, we have Jeff Pyle. For those of you who don't know Jeff, he's the head of the mycology club here on campus and a local mushroom grower with a wealth of experience growing in bulk, who's agreed to be on our board. Then we have Mary Lisajewski. Mary is the head of the Zero Waste Initiative here at OSU, and she's been working with us to help find us a space to continue our R&D. Then we have Kimber Colahan, who's actually here today, who's a fellow student and mushroom enthusiast interested in working on our team. Then we have Tom Rothgary, a graduate student who's done research in breaking down oil with mushrooms, and he has also agreed to be on our board. And we have another that's not up there because just today we met with Logan Miller, the regional manager at Rumpke, and he described our idea as, well, we're on to something big.
Stakeholders, I love them, and I know you do too. But first, who's our customer? Well, that's where the recycling industry comes in. They essentially act as the distributor of our service to larger companies. As for our internal stakeholders, it's going to be universities, starting with, of course, good old OSU. For our external stakeholders, it's going to be the plastic industry, as we're essentially eliminating the waste generated by their product. Another external stakeholder is going to be any group with a sustainability directive. And finally, for public stakeholders, it's going to be the environment and anybody who enjoys it.
So here's our Tam-Sam Som. Upon doing our research for this slide, we found out that economies of scale is a big deal in the waste management industry. In fact, the industry standard per ton of recyclable material is only around $45. This puts scalability at a high priority for our business. We believe, though, that due to our competitive advantages, we'll be able to charge upwards of $65 per ton.
So speaking of competitive advantage, here we have our competitive landscape, which we've organized into 4 different types of plastics. First, we have polystyrene, which is commonly known as styrofoam, polypropylene, which can be found in things such as ketchup bottles, medicine containers, as well as yogurt cups. And then we have polyethylenes, which can be found in various things ranging from plastic water bottles and soda bottles to high-density versions such as milk jugs and detergent jugs, as well as low-density versions found in plastic bags. And then lastly, we have polyurethanes, which can be found anywhere from mattresses to fridge and housing insulation to shoe soles and even car parts. And then we also have unsorted and dirty recycling. Unsorted recycling is any recycling that's just a mix of the previous 4 types. And then dirty recycling is any recycling containing contaminants such as food that makes it unrecyclable with our current processes. However, our process is the only one that can effectively take care of polyurethanes, dirty recycling, and mixed recycling. And that's where our competitive advantage lies.
Onto the business model. So first, what are some existing alternatives? Well, there has been a recently discovered plastic-eating enzyme. However, that is yet to hit market and probably won't for many years. Then there's also landfills, but really, that's just the status quo, and obviously, that isn't working. Our customer segments, these are mainly going to be large corporations who want to reduce their plastic waste to appease their shareholders and consumers. Early adopters would be universities like OSU who see the value in these new technologies. But what's unique about us? Well, again, we are still the only method that can break down dirty and mixed recycling. But we do have an exit strategy prepared, which would be to be acquired by a larger waste management company.
Our financial projections. Basically, we want to be growing as fast as possible, as soon as possible, and that starts with establishing our roots here at OSU and pursuing additional sources of funding. We're also going to want to be continuing on the efficiency of our mushroom strain because we want to be recycling that plastic faster and faster. And then eventually, we're going to reach out to OSU's regional campuses as a trial run for scalability.
Milestones. So right now, where we're at is we're coming out of the pre-R&D phase. We're finishing up market validation, and we're trying to move on to getting lab space to run our lab, applying for grants, and then getting a partner who's an expert in the field of mycology. After that, it's going to be finishing up Boost Camp, where we'll get a bunch of experience. And then for our fourth step, after we win PBA, we're going to focus on fundraising. But again, just to jump from where we are to our next step, it's funding. That's mainly what it's at. We're in desperate need of funding, and that goes from getting from steps 2 to 3 and 3 to 4.
So our team, well, I'm Zane. I'm the CMO. I handle outreach to potential partners that'd be interested in working with us and kind of selling them on the idea.
I'm Sydney. I'm CTO. I handle design and fundraising for the team.
I'm Sam. I'm CIO. I handle finances and database management.
I'm Parker. I'm like the de facto business knowledge guy because I read a couple books.
And I'm John, the CEO, and I lead the overall direction of the company. So like we said earlier, recycling sucks. But that doesn't mean we have to let plastic sit in landfills for thousands of years. What we're offering is a natural solution to an unnatural problem, a way to create a greener, cleaner environment for everybody in a brighter future, not in 1,000 years, but today. Thank you.
Awesome. Fantastic presentation. I have to ask, what does the mushroom look like? I'm really curious. Or can you describe it?
The mushroom or the process?
The process, yes.
Well, we have some just for that.
I can go into detail about this. So this is a trough-based system, which is very similar to already existing actually compost strategies because our business is bridging the gap between recycling and compost because it's a natural degradation of the plastic. How it essentially works is by layering plastics on a 2-week cycle and then adding substrate on top of it. This substrate is already a byproduct of other waste like coffee bean and soybean hulls. So they're already waste products as well. The mixer blades on the side, which are these kind of square shapes, they're used to rotate the mushrooms and the substrate and the plastic every couple weeks to relieve any heat from the process because breaking down the plastics, there is some heat generation, and 2, to mix it up further to aid in the speeding up of the process. After a certain amount of time, we would then release the broken down plastics and substrate through a hatch in the bottom that would then carry it to a secondary receptacle.
Thank you. And as for the mushroom, because I believe you asked about what it looked like as well, there are multiple different types we're going to test, but one of them is a pretty common type, the blue oyster mushroom. And we actually had a picture of it on one of the slides, I'm pretty sure.
We have our logo, but yeah.
Yeah. So it would look something like that.
Yeah. There's upwards of 17 strains that can break down plastic, but some are more efficient than others, and we're really just want to refine until we can essentially have our own super mushroom after enough testing and kind of breeding.
Thank you.
Barriers to entry. What prevents a competitor from moving into this space and getting to market and scaling the solution faster than y'all?
Well, absolutely. There are a couple. Mushrooms are pretty stigmatized. So, for one, due to the relation to psychedelics. Also, like complete discretion, we are not a psychedelics company. We are not this type of mushrooms. So you should get that.
Just want to put that out there.
Also, many people don't know that mushrooms aren't actually even classified as plants. Here, do you want to take that, John?
Yeah, so mushrooms are actually their own third species of living organisms. In the whole world, there's animals, plants, and fungi. They're their whole separate thing. And so basically the research that gets done into this isn't super matured. Most researchers in the fungi field are actually just amateurs. And the main thing that's stopping this from getting to market is, one, that the market research hasn't been done because most of this research is getting done by amateur scientists. And two, because no one's found the right entry into the market. And that's what we believe universities to be. And the reason we believe them to be the right entry into the market is because they have such strong sustainability goals. OSU, for example, is trying to reach a 100% sustainability goal by 2025. I'll be honest. They're not going to hit that. There's just too much blocking the way, and there's just not enough technology for them to divert all the plastics. So this solution that we're offering is something that's going to help them reach their sustainability goal much faster than they could have done on their own.
To add on to that, these mushrooms were first found in 2011, and since then there's been basically nothing done on them, and that's because there isn't that connection between research and funding, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to get funding to continue the research and build up our company.
Give Michael excellent. Yep, there we go. Oh, alrighty. Let's give one big round of applause for all of our pitches this evening. And now we are going to take a 15-minute break. Or there's a couple of breaks coming up, so let's give them that. So a 15-minute break for our judges to deliberate and figure out who is going to win the boss competition. And the judges are not the only ones with funding powers this evening. It is time for you all to scan this QR code to select your favorite idea, and the crowd favorite will be awarded $500. It's a lot of power you guys hold. And then once you have completed your People's Choice voting, you may go out and get some more refreshments outside. We'll take a 10-minute recess, and you will all come back. Alrighty, it is about that time to start coming on back in. We are going to move forward with the award ceremony. If you are an E&I scholar at this time, your attendance code is up. Oh, never mind, it is not up. It was up. It disappeared. There's your code. We can put it back up afterwards if you don't have too much time, because we are ready to move forward. Or actually, while they're doing that, I can tell you who the E&I scholars are and what they do. Alrighty. Entrepreneurship and Innovation Scholars is a multidisciplinary learning living program designed to harness a passion for innovation and creativity for first and second year undergraduate students. The program provides students with resources and support to explore their entrepreneurial ventures while connecting them with like-minded students and the startup ecosystem. One of the ventures pitching in this boss finale this evening is a team of first-year E&I scholars. And speaking of all those teams, let's give them one more round of applause for everybody who came out here tonight. And I'm also going to head and explain the PBA, the President's Buckeye Accelerator. You've heard me throwing that name around a little bit tonight, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that is. Alrighty, so if you or you know an Ohio State student with an idea and the drive to succeed, encourage them to apply for the President's Buckeye Accelerator. PBA, which is managed by the Keenan Center for Entrepreneurship, helps student founders prepare a startup for launch with $50,000 in funding, as well as mentorship, community, and the opportunity to build skills. The applicants first complete a pre-accelerator boost camp from January through March, and then 6 student ventures from the boost camp will be selected for a year-long accelerator and awarded $50,000 to advance their startup. The application deadline is November 20th, or you can email Ashley Lippincott and she can, her email's down at the bottom down here. She can let you know how to do that. Here's some examples of our current our last class of PBA winners. We've got everything from monkey healthcare to drones checking in on fire safety. So we've got lots going on. It's really exciting things. Apply, 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 apply. And if I didn't say it yet, apply. Cool? Alrighty. Wonderful. Scan that little QR code if you want to learn more. And then, of course, as well, next, it's coming up later is Launchpad OSU. Do you want to come up and give just a really quick, sentence long what's going on with Launchpad? Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Darshita. I currently serve as the director of Launchpad OSU. Kind of a quick rundown of what Launchpad OSU is. Essentially, it is another startup program, but it is for students at Ohio State, run by students at Ohio State. It's very low stakes, very low key. You get a lot of mentorship over a 3-day weekend. So if you're interested in that, definitely look into it. More application stuff and more information about that will be out soon. Woo!
Alrighty. So, who's excited to find out who our winners are tonight? Alrighty. Well, first we want to recognize all of our student participants in MOS this semester. Thought I was just going to give it away. Oh, God, no. We got time. So if you participated in MOS this semester or in the past, please stand up. Woo! Alrighty, and then, okay, wait, stay standing. If you are also an E&I scholar, please stand up and join them. Let's give them a round of applause. And if you are a student that has ever participated with the Keenan Center or currently work for the Keenan Center, please stand up and join them as well. Because all the students, everybody stand up. Woohoo! All right, now you can sit down. Go ahead. I'm now going to invite Cheryl Turnbull up here to announce our winners this evening. Cheryl is the Senior Director of the Keenan Center for Entrepreneurship. This one moves.
Oh wait, now it is on.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, green light, green light. Okay, fabulous. Well, thank you all for being here. I just am so impressed by this group. I'm just absolutely amazed and blown away at how talented our students are. And I have to say, I'm going to brag a little bit because I'm really proud about how talented our Keenan Center staff is too. They are fabulous, and I'm going to ask Shannon Bradley to please come up and take a bow for the fabulous work that she has done.
Go Shannon!
Thank you, Shannon.
Go Shannon!
Thank you. We just have the absolute best team, and you can tell because they care about our students so very much, and we're helping all of them go on and advance. And thank you, judges. Next, because we have the results. Okay. So, first of all, you should know that 125 people voted for the People's Choice Award. You should also know the room capacity is 109. So thank you all for attending, and the winner of the People's Choice Award is Mayo Glove. The People's Choice winner gets $500 to advance their idea onto the next stage.
Bio Glove, come on up here. You're going to take a
Come on
picture.
up.
Go stand right by her. I'm going to have you hop in the next photo.
And our judges are also going to come up here. They will be taking pictures with the teams as well.
All right.
You get to watch a photo shoot live as it happens. It's very exciting.
This is just to build up the excitement for the next ones, too. We're going to make you keep waiting and waiting. Okay. There you go.
All right, hold up at number 1. Okay, all right, squeeze in, make sure I can see you. All right, here we go. Ready, 1, 2, and 3. Good, because this light's on your face, everybody squat down. Do like a little squat. Yes, that's good, right there, that's good. Awesome, here we go. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Good, let me see. Awesome, okay, now, if you want to stand for a second, you can. Judges, hop in, you're gonna stand them as well. And if you'd like to stay standing, that's okay too, okay? We're gonna squeeze them in, so everybody just get really close. Yes, real close, real close, real close. All right, here we go. Wait, we're missing a judge back there. Let her in. Let her in. All right, here we go. Ready, 1. Make sure I can see you. And you back there. Ready, 1, 2. If you can't squat a little bit. Okay, all right, here we go. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Got it. Okay, all right. Judges, just hang out over there for a second. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Congratulations, Mayo Club. Great job. Okay, the second runner-up and winner of $1,500 is Smile Child. Way to go, Smile Child. I remember seeing you at President's Buckeye Accelerator, and you've rocked. Oh, my goodness. Fabulous, fabulous job. Come on up, take your bow to get a picture.
All right, get together.
Yay.
Yes. Awesome. That's great. Good. All right, yes. Good. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go, one more. You're looking at me, not at him. He's a decoy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. If you want to hold up a number 1, you can too, because you all are number 1. Yes. Okay, now stay there. Judges, hop in as well. Yes. All right. Good. Okay, arms around each other. Squeeze in. Yes. All right. I know you like to hide back there. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, judges.
Thank you, Smile Child. You made us all smile. Okay, and the winner for this evening, who will receive $2,000 and a golden ticket to the President's Buckeye Accelerator, is Insider Viz. We're all downloading your app.
I'm investing tonight. Exactly. All right, here we go. All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3. Yes, one more. 1, 2, 3. Good. Stay there. All right, judges, hop in. All right, shift this way, y'all. Shift this way. There you go. Cool, cool, cool. Good. All right, and then take one little step towards me. You got some interesting light. There you go. All right, cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Congrats. Yes.
All right. Good night, and thank you all. It was terrific. Thank you for coming out and supporting our students. We'll see you at the next one. Thank you.